I want to get to this real quick because I promised a couple guys that I would question this. Yesterday we had a few phone calls on the compost site, and people are just sick about the way people have abused it. I mean, I guess there's a car there from Pennsylvania that was dumped off, and there's loads of stuff that has been dumped there that's should not be there. Is there anything, Tim, that we can do about that, or?
Yeah, I haven't heard about the car, but
We could get the VIN number off of it
yeah, I'm
and
sure
find
that-
out who owns it.
oh,
Let's do that.
the police will do that. There's no
Okay.
doubt. We can go through the trash, and if we find enough evidence, then we can go after the individuals and
That are dumping.
and prosecute and dumping. Yeah, we are looking for a new site, obviously, because that's the industrial park, and we got to get it cleaned up.
Yeah, it was long
long
before you came here. They were talking about getting a new site, and I don't know if it was, well, I think it was discussed. I think you told me once that you were looking at someplace.
We're looking at the Sidley property, but the appraisal came in lower than what they were asking, so we haven't heard back from them to whether they wanted to accept what the appraisal was. So I have a realtor looking around for some land that we can hopefully
Anything over here would be available?
Not on this side. I
No.
mean, you're pretty well taken care of. It's probably going to have to be more something of a
West.
farm field or something. That
Okay.
we're working with the county, Janice Schweitzer also, and trying to get some information out of the EPA of what we can and can't do without hurting ourselves, so to speak. But so that's in the works. And she was talking there might even be some grants to get a chipper or something to, which would be nice unless it's a bigger one that can take care of the brush. But yeah, that's one of our priorities. It's just tough trying to find some reasonable priced land to be able to do something.
This morning when my wife picked up the newspaper, she was simply aghast with the story of the, well, actually it was the picture of people that are actually dumping couches and chairs and mattresses at these dumpster areas. And no wonder the county and the city has taken it away. I mean, it's ridiculous.
There's no such thing as an honor system anymore.
No.
I mean, you just can't.
Honors.
People aren't
out the
trustworthy.
window.
I mean,
But what gets me, if we could catch the people doing it, that's dumping trash.
Right.
And can be fined. But, we haven't caught anybody. We don't have any cameras. And the two biggest places I find being abused is the one by Perkins.
Right.
There was one sofa out there on Saturday, and I go by there on Sunday, and there's two. Plus TVs, a computer screen and whatever it may be. And they must be doing it at nighttime when the place is closed or whatever, but no one is seeing it. And the other one is out by Burger King.
Oh, out here, out south.
Yeah, down south. Those are the two biggest ones in town, and of course they're on our main highways going in and out. Okay? So we questioned it, and you read the story in the paper this morning, what we're going to try to do, with that situation. But going to the compost site, back to the compost site real quick, I've gotten a couple telephone calls and a couple email from people, and they really do like the compost site. I mean, they say it's kind of like an extra benefit for them to be able to do that. So do we. But it was the last council, was dealing with it, and now we're dealing with it, and we've got so much of it because there's not really a need for compost through Asheville County. So what do we do with it? Okay, okay, we grind it up and whatever it may be, but what do you do with it after that?
To get rid of what you got here.
Yeah.
And that's going to cost you bucks, because if you take that to the landfill, you're going to have to pay to get rid of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Well, most of the time they don't want it in the landfills because it eats up space. So really they want you to give it back to nature, so to speak, and get it back in the environment, and that is the problem. There's just not a real big market for it.
Right.
I know Bropes is having problems right now. They take a lot, but what the EPA gets you on is water runoff, and of course the garbage in it. When they come by and they see garbage in it, we get hit with it because we're supposed to help keep it all cleaned up, but it's not a garbage dump.
I do want to say this on another subject. I've noticed, for the good, that even though it gave us some bad publicity, Cleveland-wise, but the crackdown on mowing lawns, I noticed has really, it looks like people are listening and trying to get their lawns mowed.
Well, I'm gonna elaborate on that a little bit. You know, ordinances are made because of the 10%, the ones that are not doing their lawns. It's not for the 90%. I'm not out there to, or city council out there to punish the 90%. I'm out there to get the people who keep snubbing their nose at the city, okay? And I want to give you, for an example, if I may. I got some numbers here. You know, all the way up to this year, we were assessing people's property,
Right.
okay, for grass. And back 10 years ago, we had raised it from like $50 to $125. And then here a couple years ago, probably 4 or 5 years ago, another council raised it to 500, I think, or something like that.
150.
150.
150. Your second offense was 500.
500.
Right, right.
Okay? And it still didn't get people's attention. Okay? Put it on my taxes. So if you live for 30 years and you keep putting it on your taxes and you die, we're out the money.
Bye-bye. Yeah.
Okay? Now I'm going to give you some numbers. This is absolutely staggering. Just alone last year, 2013, $33,000 in grass was cut. $33,000 in grass. That's money that we will never see.
You know, and you didn't get reimbursed any of that?
No. Let me show you this. Weed and grass from 1999 to 2012, $77,995 assessed to properties that we probably will never see. 77,000 plus 33,000. It's over $100,000.
Right.
So we're not, this is money, and what happens is that every year John Williams sends a certified letter to the county. By Ohio Revised Code, we have got to send that list to the county. And it's up to the treasurer and the prosecutor to go after those assessments, not the city. It's not our responsibility to go after those people. It's the county, okay? So here's, like I said, over $100,000. Here's another one, the sidewalk. Remember the sidewalk assessment?
Yep.
Way back
Yep.
when? Sidewalk, 2002, 2005, total of $66,752 is still owed to the city by residents, okay? So it's a few. It's not the 90%. It's the few that owe us the money that we're trying to get their attention. And this is a prime example. I mean, you can't put a traffic ticket on your assess it to your property.
Right.
Okay, you get a ticket for not cutting your grass, go to court and see the judge. If the judge, if one of the punishments is to put you in jail, the judge can do that if he wants to. Do I want to put people in jail? No. I want people's attention to go out and cut their grass, trim their weeds, and whatever it may be. That's all. Because this is not working.
Has that ordinance gone into effect yet, or is that,
Yeah.
is it autumn? I mean, is it?
Well, it's always been there. I mean,
I mean, the jail ordinance.
well, it's not really, I know they wrote it up as a jail. What it really says is, you get your first notice, and we're going to sit down today with the law department, make sure we got everything in order, is you get your first notice that says cut it. Then, it says basically, upon your second conviction, it's a 4th degree misdemeanor, I think it's 4th degree, which then you're going to go to court. As good as Mr. Church says, the judge can fine you, the judge can put you in jail. That's his discretion.
Right.
But there's nothing that specifically says you go to jail. It just basically says, look, I mean, at some point, you got to assume that the judge is going to say, you know, you've been here twice, now you're here 3 times. You know, apparently you're not getting the message. You need to mow your lawn. So it's not like we're going to fill our jail with people, but it really is such a simple thing to do. And as we told people early on, remember last year, we said, look, March, it starts in April. Council moved it back from May 1 to April 1. So that gives you plenty of time, because I know the first 2 weeks of April you're not really mowing.
Right.
But if you got a mower and you need it to get to the shop to get it fixed, there's your time period to get your mower fixed.
Has anybody appeared in court yet on this ordinance?
No.
Okay. Okay.
No, this year is when the way it was usually enforced, well, the way it was stated was, we give you one notice. The past practice has been we give you one notice, then all year long I can just go ahead and mow it. And that's why a lot of these fines, I don't want to say fines, but a lot of these assessments are there is because the city the first time is $150 an hour. then
An hour? Is
an
that what it
hour.
is?
And then it goes to $500 an hour the second time.
Okay.
So if I'm mowing your lot all summer long, you're probably going to have a $2,000 assessment on your property.
Wow.
But as Mr. Church says, now we don't get the money,
Right.
and obviously you haven't got the message to go ahead and mow it, so we put it on your taxes. Well, and then at some point, the assessment's going to be more than what the property's
Right.
worth, so we're not going to get it anyways.
Yeah, and then they call you and say, oh yeah, go ahead and cut my grass.
Yeah.
Just put it on my,
I
on
can't
my
believe
taxes.
people were that way, that they
Well,
would allow their.
But understand, it's not the majority, it's the minority.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
the small
Yeah.
group of people who like want to snub their nose, and the 90% of the people in town or better take care of their properties. You know,
Want to.
but it's like the same ones. You drive around, I mean, 10 years ago when I was president of council, I look around, we're still dealing with those same people not cutting their
Isn't that
grass.
true? Yeah.
And I drove in this morning and I see over here on Route 20, that's usually waist high, is cut. I'm going, I think maybe they got the
the
message,
message.
maybe they read the Star Beacon or whatever it may be. So the idea is to get people's attention, not to go out and screw people, because 90% of the people are doing what they're supposed to.
Mhm.
It's the 10%.
Right.
It's like the trash ordinance. The majority of the people in town do what they're supposed to do, reference your trash. It's the 10% or less who just throw it out there, throw it out the back window, which I just dealt with the other day too, when people just opening up their back window and throwing it over the bank. You know,
Right.
it's things like that. But no, it's not to punish anybody. It's to get some people's attention.
Well, there's a guy over here on the east side that is usually selling lawnmowers. He had to set up a rental business. I mean, people rent the lawnmowers, use them, because I have a feeling that might be part of the problem. People don't own lawnmowers.
Well, I understand
But-
that. I understand that visiting Home Depot and Lowe's and a couple other places the other day, that sales have gone up.
Well, I don't. You'd think some
Weed
young
whackers and-
young man
Yeah.
who's trying to make money to go to college might get a little entrepreneurial and start contacting the people. You know, it's just there's got to be a way to.
But I like to say this too, that people call in on the air and they say, well, the city got to take care of their own property. It looks right and whatever. How can you when you're cutting $33,000 in grass? You got 7 or 8 guys. How can you take care of your own property when we're out cutting everybody else's property? Not everybody else, the 10%. So.
We'll let you know this year we are subcontracting that work out.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, so
And
we don't-
chances are what we're going to end up doing is not only will you still get cited, but we're also probably going to take you to collection to get the money.
Okay.
Now we're going to affect your credit rating.
Tim, wouldn't it automatically, like, we all pay taxes, all 4 of us I know do, but wouldn't it automatically come out of those taxes? You know what I mean? Instead of,
I guess I can say in Ohio it doesn't seem that way.
Really?
Basically, if I send you the taxes, I paid the taxes, it doesn't appear the auditor really cares about the assessments. They'll just let them get the penalties, the interest, and it'll grow. And they really don't foreclose on the properties till it's really worth their while to do it, because
Okay.
it costs them about $2,500 on the property to go
So they
for
let
the
it
foreclosure. So they want to make sure that if there's $300 worth of taxes owed or something, they're not going to spend $2,500 to foreclose on the property.
gotcha.
But again, it hurts us because it should.
Obviously, it's
Right.
in a big way. Good morning, you're on the air.
Hey Pat,
Yeah?
you ever watch the show American
Pickers.
No,
No.
I've never,
American Pickers, it's not History Channel.
no.
You ever see some of the yards that are in America?
Some yards in America? No.
They're awful. I've seen
They're
them.
awful.
Yes.
Nick
No.
has watched it apparently.
I think they look good. I think the mess looks good.
Well, okay.
Now, you want to put people in jail for having grass 5 inches tall?
6.
I think that's going overboard.
Well, that's your opinion. I don't.
You know, you can ruin somebody's life by doing that.
Well,
Well, then they need to cut their grass.
Well, they're not ruining anybody's life by not cutting their grass.
Well,
It's you know, cutting grass is no big deal. I don't understand what the big deal is.
Yeah,
Well, what
Well,
ends up happening,
You gotta do it 17 times a year.
To make your community look nice.
okay.
I guess it's kind of a,
Okay, thanks for the
Well-
phone call. I guess he's against that.
Okay. It's all right. I mean, there are people against it. That's okay.
Yeah, yeah.
And there are places in America where there is no housing and zoning and rules and whatever.
No, back in our day,
Yeah.
we didn't have zoning. The zoning didn't come into effect till
well,
I
people
graduated.
just mowed their grass because of
They
the
mow
pride.
because of the pride in their property.
Right. That was
Period.
just instilled in them.
Right.
But by the way, before I take this phone call, I'm going to commend both of you guys. Went downtown yesterday for the first time in a couple of weeks. Beautiful. It's nice and cleaned up. It's painted. The street lights are painted, and it looks really, really nice. And I think that's a plus.
Well,
You know.
people of Conneaut deserve that.
It made me feel good driving down there at 6:15 the other morning and say, "Wow, this looks good." You
Yeah,
know.
and you know, the Rotary and people who came out and helped lay mulch and planted flowers and just yeah, it's long overdue, and the people of Conneaut deserved it, and have received calls on it and said wow, like you did, and
We gotta get the whole town to look like that. You know, that's what but it takes cooperation. It takes the entire town to do that.
well, I
you
understand
know.
this. We've only been doing this for 5 months now, so
Hi, you're on the air.
Hi, Pat.
Hello.
This is Kenny.
Hi, Ken. How you doing?
How's those two guys on the end doing?
Good.
Mr. Church, how you doing?
good, Kenny.
Good. First time I ever met you the other day,
Yeah,
and at the same time, the person next to you, I met him on the same day too.
really.
Yeah, at the dollar store.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I just want to let you know that, hey, you guys doing a good job, and the money I make and my nephew makes, we still do cut our grass. Sometimes our lawnmowers broke down and fix it. We get it back in shape.
Good.
Good.
Deal. Good deal.
And I'm 62 years old. I'm still pushing the lawnmower around and try to keep it neat. But these other people who are dumping furnitures and all that, it's kind of wrong.
It is.
Because when the person who owns that property, we try to help everybody out with the Goodwill box and all that for clothes and shoes. It's good for them. But when everybody starts putting couches, everything out there, it costs them money to haul it away.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's what I want to say about all of you, and you guys done a wonderful job.
Thanks, Kenny.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
See, I want to bring up too, Pat and Christine, is when that property, when that sofa and junk is placed on a property, like, you know, over where Big Lots is and so on and so forth, not Big Lots, Save a Lot. When that stuff is dropped and that individual's not caught, it then becomes basically the property, I mean, the owner of the property.
Right.
So now he can be cited for having junk on his property.
Sad. That's sad.
It is.
Because he's struggling. I mean, trying to keep
Absolutely.
it nice up there.
And he gave permission for those boxes to be there, you know, to try to help out the people, you know? But
That's
now,
a good
yeah,
point. Right.
it becomes his responsibility. I
Oh,
dealt with
I
one
never
the
thought
other
of
day. Lady called me, who lives over on Park Place, and made an appointment with her, went over and seen her, and she says, down at the bottom is the Bessemer tracks.
Mhm.
It's a backyard. It's about 80 yards from the top to the bottom. Somebody dumped a love seat and a sofa,
Wow.
and so I said, I'll go down and look. Well, if you drive down Old Main, and when you get to the tracks, take a left and go down alongside the tracks, well, there's a cable there, okay? Well, the cable's down. And I got out and looked, and it can be locked. But I drove down to where the sofa and love seat was, and it was on her property, not on the thing. So they're driving down, they're getting rid of it everywhere. They're dumping it everywhere. They're dumping it in a compost site, they're dumping it out. Like these yellow boxes, they're you know, it's everywhere. It's
amazing.
absolutely unbelievable.
It's amazing. Morning, you're on the air.
Yes, good morning to you.
Hi.
Good morning to all of you.
Good morning.
As far as the new grass ordinance, the major problem that a lot of people have, and it's been expressed on your show before, is that not whether they enforce it, but whether they selectively enforce it. Is it going to be different this year? Because a couple of examples would be, number one would be along Whitney Road and all throughout around the golf course. That was like 3-4 foot high every summer. And we've called, other people have called that show, called the city manager's office. Never anything done about it. It's a traffic hazard. It hangs over the road on both sides of Whitney Road at times. There's other places along Parish Road, different places just before the health club, there's heavy brush hangs out on the road. What we'd like to know as citizens is this going to be enforced against everybody or just selected people?
Well, I disagree with the fact it hasn't been enforced. It has been enforced, and you can probably see on their property there has been assessments. Whitney knows it takes us a little time to do it. First is always the problem of tracking down who owns the property and getting the notice to the proper person. Because if we've had to mow it, we've assessed them. But
You don't know who owns the golf
Parish
course?
Road, Anderson's always, we're getting cited and end up mowing. I know this year it's all mowed. We get down Salisbury, we always have a problem with one property owner down there. We end up citing them, but you gotta remember, once we cite you, you got 5 days in which to take care of the problem.
Well,
Then we had to schedule our guys, which might have been another 2 or 3 days to get it mowed. So we don't selectively enforce it. When there's a complaint, it gets written up and sent to the individual, and we follow through the best we can on some of those properties.
as citizens, we would hope that it would not be selectively enforced this year, but without a doubt, it has been selectively enforced for a lot of things in the city in recent years.
Well,
I disagree with that,
Yeah.
but you're entitled to your opinion.
Well, look around.
I do.
We could give you a list, you could get a list of these if you just drove around the properties, large property owners mostly probably.
Yeah,
Are not mowing their grass. And they're
I
not
do drive
cutting
around.
limbs and weeds that are hanging over the street in many places. Along the highways, all over the place.
I do drive around.
Well, better look again, because now it's just going to, I know last year along Whitney Road, it was into September before the city started mowing the edge about 3 foot in. So, I mean, it's good to clean up the city. It's good to clean up,
Yeah.
you know, where there's really a bunch of trash and everything. There's no problem with that. It's just that I think it's got to be enforced against every citizen that violates the law, not just the out-of-town property owner or somebody. So that's my opinion.
All right. Thank
I
you.
hope that you will pay attention to it, because many citizens have called this show over the years complaining about the same thing. So, okay, thank you for your efforts.
Thanks for your comments.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay. I get a lot of that, Nick and Tim, from the folks out there that have those opinions.
Sure.
And like you say, Nick, it's their opinion. That's simply what it is.
But you know what, before you take that call, you know what gets me too is some people in town don't stop and think that how many people we have on the public works. No matter how many times you say, well, we've got 9 people, and now we have 2 on workman's comp. Okay, we're down to 7. Did we hired what, 4 more people to go out and cut grasses here on a part-time basis, 4 or 5?
no, well, we use our our summer help.
Yeah.
They do mowing, they do crack filling, but again, we found the problem was simply that, again, we're using public works to mow, and they can only get to it afterwards. We were paving or doing something, so this year we budgeted some money. We're gonna have private contractors do it. So
Did you hire local or?
we called some vendors and got the best price we could, because obviously we're not just going to get the most expensive.
Can I ask you
charge.
how much this is going to cost?
I think the guy's going to like $15 an hour.
Really?
He'll take a picture before, Then he'll
Send
take a
'em over to
picture
my
after.
house.
Yeah.
That's a good price.
So, and he does this for other communities. That's what he does is the
Okay.
grass. I mean, like I say, there's a good job in
Yeah.
enforcing weeds. So hopefully this year, again, we're behind the 8 ball a little bit. Everybody knows the weather. We didn't have anything. All of a sudden it rained. Then all of a sudden you get the hot weather and the
Sure.
grass just goes boom. But
Yeah, it did too.
right.
Yeah.
But we're always going to lag behind. But since I've been here, we've never selectively enforced anything. It's just been the ability of the manpower to be able to do it. And yes, we get people that argue with us all the time. You know, it's not my property, or it's this or that. Plus, again, it takes, with all these foreclosures that happen, you know, it's who do you cite? Because now we're dealing with banks. So we got to make sure the notice gets to the right person so that we don't hold ourselves liable that all of a sudden I charge you for doing it. You go, well, you never notified me, and now I got to, you know, absorb that cost.
Right.
So it does take a little time to do it. And the one thing they do need to remember too is in the agricultural areas south of 90, we can't enforce the noxious weed. It's only in residential districts, the industrial residential districts.
Good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, how are you doing today?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm bringing up West Jackson Street, and I got to bring up the guy that paid to have it cleaned up.
Yes.
And he did a fine job, and it was all out of his pocket. And all he asked was help from the city, and got nothing.
Really?
All they did was come down and pick up the crack bottles.
I don't know who that. I don't know.
I do. It's actually on the list of things to talk about this morning was Mr. Lagaza.
Yes, that's him, Michael Legeza.
Yeah, Michael
Mike.
Lagaza
Okay, Michael. Yeah.
contacted the city manager and said that he was going to clean up West Jackson. And
Yeah.
I actually talked about it Monday night at the work session that Mr. Lagaza and his people ought to be applauded for what they did on West Jackson Street.
Very much for that.
Because I was absolutely amazed when I drove down West Jackson Street Sunday morning. I couldn't believe I was on the same street.
Yes,
Really?
Yes,
he's applauded for that.
and absolutely, and I even told the city manager and council that we need to find some way to thank, whether it be a certificate or, you know, I don't know, but whatever they
I gotta
did,
tell you this.
whatever they did was a heck of a job.
He did it all from the kindness of his heart,
Yes,
and all out of his pocket. And I'm pretty sure he's not looking for recognition.
I bet you, I know he's not.
No, just that's a road he drives down every day to work.
Yes,
Disgusting.
absolutely. I mean, it's just, it's one of the cleaner streets in Conneaut now.
It is, really. I
Yes.
drive down every day because I work for him.
Yes,
He'd be applauded for it, but the only thing he got out of that, so chief of police came down and picked up those crack bottles.
crack what? I don't understand.
Well,
Scrap.
crack bottles.
Crack
bottles. What Mr. Gaza did was when they found a suspicious bottle, then they contacted us and we picked it up. But we also have been working with Mr. Gaza quite consistently on this. Is that we found a grant monies we're working together on to get rid of the tires that are there. So he did this as a community service, which we thanked him for. We worked with him, told him anything we can help him with, we would help him with.
His business is located at
Yes.
the
Correct.
end, right?
Yeah, West Jackson.
By
Waylight.
Crankcraft.
Yes.
Right. So
Okay.
now we're going to look at the road and make sure that, you know, potholes and everything are taken care of and those types of things. But again, he's right. He didn't do it for anything other than to help the
Good for him.
community. And we said, look, here's a grant. I think he had to have about 100 tires. And he said, look, we've been picking them up alongside the road. We'll partner with you, and then we can get a grant in, and shouldn't cost him anything to get rid of the tires that have been cleaned up.
Okay.
So we're still at that stage. Hopefully we can get with him and get that last piece of the puzzle taken care of.
Yeah.
Well, that's
But
very
to
encouraging.
Mr. Lagaza and all the
Yes.
people that work for him, absolutely amazing. What a good job, and what can I say other than thank you?
I mean, it's community pride that's top of the list.
Sure.
And that's
Excellent.
what we need
Excellent.
more of.
Good phone call. Appreciate it.
Have a great day, man.
You too.
You too.
Bye-bye. All right. Well, I was not aware of that.
Yes.
Wasn't aware of that. A lot of things here we gotta kind of close in on here. Graffiti, been a problem.
Yes, it has.
There's a $500 reward out there?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
What's going on? Is it
Well, it's
nothing
somebody
better
running
to do?
it.
Or?
Yeah, evidently, there's this guy going around town. And it's kind of like everywhere. It's on the Ecstatic building. It's over on the east side, across from Poco Banditos on a wall. Letters are probably 5 or 6 foot tall. It's down the harbor. It's everywhere. And I guess the person or person, his name is Jug. It looks like Jug, J-U-G. So there's a $500 reward for the apprehension because it's doing it on city property and other commercial buildings that people own, so it's costing them money to take it off, as well as the city. So an anonymous person put up $500.
Okay. Okay.
And it's anonymous, and they can call the hotline, or they can call me.
What's the do you know what the hotline number is?
Not the police hotline, I don't, but mine's
the
593.
police hotline.
Or they can call me, 593-1045, but their name will never be used. It needs to stop. It's absolutely ridiculous.
What kind of is it like? Is there
Vulgar.
some kind of a message that
No.
on everything?
I've asked the
Something?
police.
No?
I've asked the police if there was any type of gang related and stuff like that, and it's not. It's just this. It's J-U-G in parentheses.
Oh, that's what he's
He's
writing.
putting it, yeah.
He doesn't have does he have anything he's saying anything profound or anything?
No, no, just other than paint, spray paint, screwing up people's
What an
buildings.
idiot.
Right. He doesn't know where to dispose of his paint cans,
Paint
so
cans,
he's
yeah.
probably just.
Wow.
But
That's
it's screwing up a lot of
unbelievable.
stuff. But it's
Yeah.
everywhere. It's down the harbor. It's over on the east side. It's down here on Harbor Street. And
Oh, I'm gonna have to look at those. I
yeah, we
didn't.
drive down on Harbor Street on look at the building and over on the east side. But yes.
Morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, everyone. This is Pat Dubinsky.
Hi.
Good morning.
Pat.
Hi. I just want to applaud Nick and Tim for all the work they've done and that. And I would, though, like to make a request.
Okay.
Okay.
I live on Leith Walk, right on the corner of Leith and King Street. And every time it rains, we have a lake that forms from that corner all the way down to Newmore Drive. And it has been like that since my parents lived here. And I can remember my mom trying to have that fixed. And the city at that time said nothing they can do about it. They don't know what's wrong. Well, it looks like it's pretty evident that it's the way the drains are placed at each corner, at least when I look at it. But if you guys could take a look at it, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. We will.
They've written it down, so they'll look into it.
Yeah, I would greatly appreciate it. And
Okay.
also, when you turn onto King Street, boy, the potholes are bad up there on King and Leith Walk and Blur Street. The whole block is just horrible.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. I greatly appreciate it.
Thanks,
Yes,
Pat.
ma'am.
Y'all have a great day.
Too.
Bye.
Of course, a couple months ago, I think Tim and Nick, the bunkhouse, which is the former Dr. Feelgood's building, was in the news with the back end of it kind of falling down. Anything new on that?
Directed the law director to go ahead, and we're going to get a court order to, I guess, take the back of the building off. And,
Really?
yeah.
What
What there is, there's like a brick veneer over the structural wall.
Oh.
So our only resolve at this point is just get that off, and then we can open up the
You
alleyway.
mean? I didn't realize
Yeah,
that.
yeah. We had the county building official go out with the fire chief and look at the building, and she said, look, it's structurally sound. This really is just a facade more than anything, so we can take that
I
down.
never, and I
Yeah.
used to party there. I think probably you did too. I don't. I never knew. No, you were out of town.
I was
then.
in the Army.
Yeah, that's right.
I
I did not realize that. I was.
Well, yeah, you can kind of tell what probably happened is the water got behind. There's usually a little air space, and it probably froze and pushed it out. But that's the best way right now, is at least to get that down.
Is there anything you can do about that, Tim? I
Well,
mean,
let's do this. The state down in Columbus, they have the deed or the paperwork to that building.
okay,
They evidently took it for taxes. Okay,
Right.
Owed them. So, but it's our responsibility to take care of the building, which is really stupid.
Not a good plan.
No, because first question I asked when I became president of council, can we cite the state for having
I
a,
remember you telling me that.
can we cite the state for having this building here in our town that they have the paperwork on? And of course the answer was no. So it's our responsibility, but we have got, we're trying also to get to get the deed from the state. And I know we've talked to John Patterson, or Debbie Newcomb has talked to John Patterson and to Capri Cafaro to see about getting that paperwork, and possibly, if we can get it, if we can talk a construction guy in town to tear it down and possibly give them the property so we don't have to out of pocket, because we don't have the money out of pocket to pay for, you know, tearing that down. So that's an option, but that's what we're kind of like looking at. And it's we want to get the back of it off so we can open up, because it really doesn't help the dollar store, the new dollar store over there.
Right.
We like to get the back off in it so the bricks will quit falling, so you know people don't get hit or whatever it may be. And so hopefully we'll be able to do that sooner than tearing the whole building down. But that's the biggest eyesore right now in the downtown area.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Very
Yeah.
unfortunate.
And some of the other buildings, people are in the process of getting ready to get cited again. Nice commercial buildings. So,
Morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. This is Linda.
Hi,
Thank
Linda.
you guys for all that you do.
hi Linda.
But you were just talking about that Dr. Feelgood's building. I was sitting in the parking lot at the dollar store yesterday because it was pouring until it lit up. And I watched on the back of that building along up by the top of
Yes.
the roof, the water was just pouring out of the back of that building, off the roof and down under the fascia or whatever it's called,
Yeah.
just pouring down the back of the building. So there's water. Is there water damage on the roof?
Well, I hear I have heard that there is a hole in the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So I can imagine what the inside of it looks like with water coming in.
And then you were talking about graffiti.
Yes.
Now I can sit on my front porch and look across the railroad tracks at the people, I'm not going to say their name, but their fence out there. There's some nasty language written on the back of that
For
fence.
goodness sake.
On the, okay.
I'm sure you know who it is. I'm not going to say the person's name. But anyway, and there's also 2 tires laying over there. And other than that, and also I know we talked to Mr. Kozeski, Terry did the other day, about all that mud and debris down Jackson Street along the curbing by where Terry lives. Him and I went out there and shoveled 2 of them big blue plastic bins that you got handles on each side,
Yeah.
full of that debris. We called the city and they said they didn't have time because they were mowing the cemeteries, which I understand they have to get mowed, but we just about could hardly carry the baskets and put them up in the garage until we can dispose of them. But most of that stuff is stuff where the plows have plowed up, and there's dirt and there was gravel and all that stuff in it. And you know, when he mows his grass, there's a sidewalk on one side and the street on the other side. I went out myself and swept up all the grass and put it in a box, and we took that to the compost site. And every year him and I go out and we sweep from his property on Jackson Street all the way to the underpass every year. and he's owned that for 9 years. Now, really, by rights, we shouldn't have to do the underpass. That should be done by the city.
I agree.
But we do it every year, and we haul them big boxes of that debris. The concrete that the kids are going down through there, and they're digging it off the wall. And I just talked to Doris this morning about this underpass right here on the corner of Broad and 16th Street.
Yep.
Kids stand there and they pick at that concrete until there's all that piles of concrete lying on the sidewalk.
Okay, Linda, we have other calls coming in.
Okay, so, you know, I mean, that's sad to say that they're destroying everything, you know. But
Hey,
thank
Linda?
you for listening.
Linda, call me at home and tell me the person, please.
Okay, I will.
Thank you.
All right, we got some emails here. I was wondering if you could, Nick, I was wondering if you could get a few trash barrels down at the old dump. That's on Woodworth Road area, the old boat ramp area. It would sure help my husband and I out since we try and keep this area clean, cut and weed whack for the fishermen. What the heck is going
She's
on?
calling him right now.
Keep this area clean, cut and weed whack for the fishermen such as us and others. Thank you, Sherry Allums. So could you write that down?
We got it.
Forward
Some
that.
trash barrels would help.
Yes, Sheriff, we will.
Also, why is there no parking? This from, okay, I don't have a name on this one. Why is there no parking on either side of Dean Avenue by the park? There's nowhere to park except Harbor Street, which has a lot of traffic. It makes no sense.
Could I use your driveway?
Yes, the sense in that is you can park on Broad Street in front of the tennis courts, or you can park on Harbor Street. The reason that there's no parking on both sides of the street on Dean Avenue is because of the kids playing on the equipment and noticed over the 2 years that I have lived there of kids running between the cars out to get a ball or running out of one car in the westbound lane and people going east not seeing them running behind the vehicles. So we made it no parking on both sides because of one, it was so close to the kids' play equipment. So you can park on Broad Street in front of the tennis courts, or you can park on Harbor Street, but not on Dean Avenue.
Okay. Tim, you sent me an email the other day, probably all the media, about people blowing their grass cuttings
Right.
into the street. I didn't realize you could be cited for that.
Yes.
Could you explain that?
Well, I mean, again, it's our ordinance, and again, it's to keep the storm sewer grates clean, because people don't realize that once a storm comes through, it washes it down. Grass just doesn't automatically go down the grates. It starts going across, then it plugs them up, then your streets flood. So, I mean, if you end up doing it, all we're asking at least have the courtesy to sweep it up and take it to the compost center.
Okay.
I mean, it does happen, especially with the tall grass, but if you can keep it out of the streets, obviously it'll help keep
Or
the
you
storm
run-
basins open.
Or you run your lawnmower by to blow it out of the street
Right,
Yeah.
right.
You know,
Utilize the
after you're
lawnmower.
done or whatever it may be.
Morning, you're on the air.
Morning, this is Jean Bibbert speaking,
Hi, Jeannie.
old neighbor.
Yeah?
Hi, Jeannie.
Good morning to everyone. I just wanted to call and let you know that we really appreciate everything that's going on in the city.
Very good.
Bob,
Okay, we lost.
it's the best that I've seen it look in years.
Good.
And our uptown has a lot of improvements. We had the water main break down here on Lake Road.
Mm-hmm.
I did a great job filling it in and cleaning it up. Wonderful job, and I stand behind everyone in this town. We need more people to get together and do things.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Very good. Nice comments, Jeannie. I
Thank you,
appreciate
Jeannie.
that. Thanks, hon.
Just wanted to let everyone know that we do appreciate what's going on in the city. Keep up the
Excellent.
good work.
Excellent comments. Thank you very much.
Jeannie.
Thank you. Everyone have a
you.
good day.
You too. Bye-bye. Just a couple last remarks here. Of course, we have Memorial Day coming up. City Hall will be closed on Monday, right, Tim? Of course, there'll be the Memorial Day ceremony. You're going to be doing...
We're doing remembering our 49.
I don't see times on any of these signs. What are the times for, like,
The parade takes off at 11:15.
Yeah.
Quarter to
We're going to
11.
foam up at 10:30. at the Legion, and they'll head out at 10:45.
Okay.
They'll stop at the War Memorial and lay the wreaths. I want to back up a little bit. I've asked Pastor Shellhammer, Joyce, to ring the bells 49 times in honor of the 49 men from Conneaut, starting at 10:30. Then the parade will stop, do the wreaths, and then they'll go on to form back up and head to the city cemetery. At the city cemetery, it's going to be the same service that we had last year, and basically we're adopting that service as Conneaut's own, since Memorial Day is about honoring men and women who were killed in combat, not just veterans. That's what we have Veterans Day for. We are going to read, we still doing the 49 flags with the 49 roses, with the 49 names on the roses in the ground. So would be the reading of the name and taps and music and whatever, same thing that we did last year. Cleaned up the city cemetery, took out the tree stumps that were long overdue. They're actually going this week, or they've already done it, going down to wash down the memorial and the area there, which is long overdue. And hopefully it's going to be like a 70-degree day, 65 to 70 degrees, with hopefully sun shining, and hopefully it'll be a nice Memorial Day.
They're actually talking closer to 80.
You know, and
No.
Yeah.
so we had a great turnout last year. The plaque of the 49 will be there. I'll go pick it up either probably tomorrow. I take it down, I'll bring it, so the plaque will be there, and the boots and the helmet and whatever will be there ready to go when the people show up. Had a great turnout last year, and hopefully people turn out this year to salute our 49 guys who gave their life.
All right, got a couple more emails before I let you go. You guys are doing a great job. The city looks a lot better than before. Thank you, from Bob Humphreys. So you're getting some positive comments here, which is a good thing. Can't get through on the phone. Any chance you could ask if the property next to Sharpie, that would be on Sandusky Street, can be put up higher on the list to be looked into? I've been calling for years about this lot on the corner of Mill and 16th Street.
Yep.
The city does mow it once or twice a summer, but have to bring in 3 to 4 guys in the brush hog tractor mower by the time they get to it. Big cost, I assume, for the city.
Yeah, and that's being looked at by the law department. Also, I'd just like to mention one thing, ditching. The council did revise the ditching ordinance.
Okay.
The only change was that your culvert is your responsibility. It always was, but the city is no longer going to try to schedule the work. It's up to you to get a contractor to put your culvert in. So we are still ditching. That has not changed. So I know there's a rumor out there that we're not ditching anymore. No, that's way.
I heard that rumor.
Yeah, we got a couple calls in reference to it that we're not ditching anymore. That was
ill-founded.
Ill-founded.
Yes.
Okay, very good. Guys, thank you so much.
You betcha.
We could have done 2 hours here because there's so much to go over with. Keep up the good work. You both are doing a great job. And we're gonna have to cut the phone calls off now because these guys got a lot of work to do as we head into the holiday weekend. So thank you, Tim, for coming in. Thank you,
That's
Nick.
it.